They thought all hope was lost. Then a human warship emerged from the void. The Galactic Council's emergency beacon pulsed desperately through the void of space, a crimson heartbeat against the star-speckled darkness. Admiral Zephyr of the Altarian fleet watched helplessly as the last of her defensive formations crumbled under the relentless assault of the Vorth Armada. Shields at 12%, her tactical officer reported, his voice barely audible over the ship's groaning hull. Hull! Breaches on decks 7 through 15. Zephyr's 6 eyes tracked a holographic display, where thousands of Vorth vessels swarmed like metallic locusts around the dying embers of the Allied fleet. 300 ships had answered the Council's call for aid. Now fewer than 30 remained functional, their energy signatures flickering like dying candles. The Vorth had emerged from the galactic rim without warning, their technology decades ahead of anything the Council possessed. Their ships moved like liquid mercury, phasing through conventional shields as if they were mere suggestions. Their weapons didn't just destroy, they consumed, converting matter into pure energy to fuel their endless hunger. Admiral, communications. Officer Thale's voice cracked. The Kepler colony! It's gone. The Vorth consumed the entire system. 50 billion souls. Gone in minutes. Zephyr closed her primary eyes, feeling the weight of countless civilizations depending on this last desperate stand. The Vorth were only hours away from the core worlds. If they broke through here, nothing would stop them from devouring the heart of galactic civilization. All ships, maintain formation, she commanded, though they both knew it was futile. We hold the line. The Vorth flagship, a monstrous construct the size of a small moon, drifted forward with predatory grace. Its surface rippled with dark energy, reality itself seeming to bend around its presence. Zephyr had seen the tactical reports. This single vessel had destroyed the entire Procyon defense fleet in under an hour. Admiral, her science officer whispered, long-range sensors are detecting massive gravitational distortions in Sector 77 Alpha. Vorth reinforcements? Zephyr asked, her heart sinking. No, ma'am. The signature is ... different. Unknown. The space in front of the Vorth formation began to twist, stars bending into impossible spirals as reality folded in on itself. The Vorth ships immediately assumed defensive positions, their sleek hulls glowing with anticipation. Then it emerged, the vessel that materialized from the void, defied conventional physics. Where Vorth ships flowed like organic predators and Council vessels maintained elegant symmetry, this newcomer was a brutal amalgamation of purpose and fury. Angular armor plating covered a hull that seemed to have been forged in the heart of a dying star. Weapon ports bristled from every surface like the spines of some primordial beast. Ma'am, Thale's voice was barely a whisper. We're receiving a transmission. Audio only. The voice that filled the bridge was distinctly alien to most present, yet carried an unmistakable authority. This is Captain Sarah Chun of the UES Indomitable. We received your distress call. Zephyr's translator struggled with the unfamiliar syntax. Human vessel, this is Admiral Zephyr of the Galactic Council Fleet. We are grateful for your arrival, but you should retreat immediately. The Vorth cannot be stopped. A sound emerged from the speakers that might have been laughter. Admiral, humans don't retreat when innocents are dying. We've been watching these Vorth tear through your space for weeks, learning their patterns. Today they learn about ours. The human ship began to move. What happened next will be discussed in military academies for centuries. The Indomitable didn't engage like any known vessel. Instead of maintaining distance and trading volleys, it accelerated directly toward the Vorth flagship, its engines leaving trails of blue fire across the void. The Vorth responded predictably, focusing their combined firepower on this audacious newcomer. Energy beams that had torn through Council shields, like paper struck the human vessel's armor and ... stopped, not absorbed or deflected, but actually halted, as if the ship existed in a different layer of reality. Impossible, Zephyr breathed. Captain. Chun's voice crackled through the comm. Kinetic barriers online, reactive armor engaged, all weapons free. The Indomitable's hull erupted in coordinated fury. Weapons that defied classification tore into Vorph formations. Missiles that phased through space-time. Energy beams that ignored conventional physics. And projectiles that moved faster than light itself rained destruction upon the surprised Armada. But the most devastating weapon was the ship itself. As the Indomitable closed distance with the Vorph flagship, it didn't slow down. At the last possible moment, its hull split open like a blooming flower, revealing a core of pure antimatter contained within magnetic fields that pulse with the rhythm of a human heartbeat. For every world you've consumed, Captain Chun's voice rang across all frequencies. For every life you've stolen, this is humanity's answer. The antimatter core detonated. The explosion didn't just destroy the Vorph flagship, it created a temporary star that consumed everything within 1,000 kilometers. The remaining Vorph vessels, suddenly leaderless and facing an enemy that fought with controlled madness, began to retreat toward the galactic rim. In the aftermath, as rescue ships tended to the wounded and survivors counted their impossible victory, Admiral Zephora found herself staring at the debris field where the human ship had made its sacrifice. "Ma'am," Theo reported quietly, "we're receiving another transmission from human space. They're asking about Captain Chun's status." Zephora activated the Kun channel herself. "This is Admiral Zephora to Human Command. I regret to inform you that Captain Chun and her crew made the ultimate sacrifice to save our worlds." The response came immediately. "Admiral, this is Admiral Marcus Webb of the Human Defense Force. Sarah knew the risks when she volunteered for this mission, but Admiral ... you should know something about humans." "What's that?" "We don't just fight for victory. We fight so that others don't have to. The Indomitable was just the first. The rest of the fleet will arrive within the hour." As if summoned by his words, space began to ripple again. This time, it wasn't one ship that emerged from the void, but hundreds. Each one bore the same brutal elegance as the Indomitable. Each one crewed by beings who had learned that sometimes the greatest hope came from those willing to sacrifice everything for strangers. Zephyr watched the human fleet take formation and realized that the galaxy had just discovered something the Vorph never expected to encounter. A species that considered self-sacrifice not just acceptable, but necessary when protecting others. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the Vorph had emerged from the rim, hope burned bright in the darkness of space. And it burned with human fire.